And there you go. I've got my phone in the plastic bag, so I can drop it into any puddles. Five right, 4 down. I think we're here for the ambience. Kyeema Conservation Park. It's a serpentine area. Yeah. About the first 2 weeks of August, when we have the coldest nights, and we're going out into the brightening days of the coming season, the dry, because we only have basically 2 seasons in this country. That flip on a line that basically runs from Perth to Brisbane, sort of thing, a sort of diagonal sort of line. The seasons flip around there. But it's slightly different because on one side of the line you're going into the season, and on one side, the other side of the line you're usually coming out of the season. So there are subtle differences to the borders of the season. And then within those seasons, you basically, the Aborigines break them up into sometimes up to 7 seasonal brackets, depending on the food resources available at certain times during the wet and the dry sort of thing. So, yeah, hopefully I've got it. I'm sorry I stuffed the camera. Last time I uploaded them in reverse order, so hopefully you got some good footage towards the end and a bit of a tale or two. I forgot that when the battery fails, you have to reset the brightness as well as the another thing they need to improve with this camera. The fact you can actually reload the battery while still having the SD card in there, that's a good feature. And yeah, I really wanted to go to Mount Magnificent. Unfortunately, I was on the wrong road. I think I wasn't on the double hump road. Oh well, I really like the double hump road. Once you see the double humps, you'll appreciate it. Yeah. I've made a recent discovery because I was pursuing chalk so much and I was pursuing copper so much, I've made a discovery with, I suppose you call it osmolarity, I suppose, because I was wondering, over in WA, you see, you have all these chunks of, CPs don't seem to like too much iron sort of thing. They seem to be like, they need to be somewhat iron deficient in a way, which is what dilute chromium in serpentine sites tends to make the plants somewhat iron deficient sort of thing. Extremely dilute, of course. And whoa, it's a bit skittish. And yeah, I've made a discovery between iron, chalk, and salt and osmolarity sort of thing. It's very interesting. So I did a few basic experiments, and I'm growing moss and things like that, floating them on little little rafts of high-density polyethylene that you get out of milk bottles. So you float the little rafts, on the water. And yeah, I'm growing things in a relative osmolarity of 44 grams to the litre, which is basically 1 1/3, 1 1/3 seawater strength. And the moss is just sitting, the moss is just sitting there. You couldn't even tell the difference. I mean, I'm thinking, oh, okay. Because I always wondered, when you go to these commercial places, you're walking around and you're seeing this, you're looking up and you're seeing, hang on, there's bloody lichen growing on all this plastic of the greenhouse. I said, when have I had lichen growing on my bloody greenhouse plastic? And when have you had lichen growing on you? So you can go back to those videos on my YouTube channel. You look at some of the commercial places and some of the slide footage I've got from other places. And just look for things like lichen growing on the plastic walls of greenhouses and think, that's a bit odd, isn't it? Because they have these like sprinklers going, every so many, every half an hour of every hour or something, or at least 4 times a day, sort of these misting sprinklers coming on. We're just using the old rainwater. I'm thinking, no, you're not. You don't get fucking lichen growing on your bloody plastic of your walls of your greenhouse if you're using just... And of course, they say, lichen needs very fresh, clean air, sort of thing, and blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, well, hang on, they're growing on the bloody barks of the tree. How clean is the bark of the tree, basically? Wet, damp bark of the tree. With all its, phytotoxins and terpenes and all this other stuff that you'll find in bark, and heavy metals in bark, because quite a lot of trees dump their toxicity products into their barks to get rid of them, sort of thing, especially towards the end of the season. They get rid of all the nasties that are accumulated, sort of thing, so they dump them into their bark. So you got these lichens growing on this thing. I think, nah. It's a load of bullshit. There's more to it than meets the eye. It's almost like a misdirection sort of thing. Either they're telling you only half of the coin, they're telling the left side while doing the right. Well, they're actually doing the right and the left together, but they're telling you one thing. And the evidence is the lichen growing on the bloody plastic. You think, when have you got